Good morning. Bonjour. Can you hear me?
Bonjour, docteur.
So we will start our class. I will introduce myself. My name is Maya Badr. I'll be teaching you the engineering economy course. We will be meeting every Thursday, but we will try to have extra sessions whenever it's possible. Okay, so today we will introduce our course. I will show you the syllabus quickly, and we will start with a chapter dedicated to introduce this course, to motivate you. Why are we studying engineering economy? شو هن the different aspects that we will be considering, what type of applications we will be having. Okay, so I will share the syllabus with you first. We will discuss it. I will ask you to raise your hand whenever you have a question لأنه كتار بالصف. You know this course was offered for mechanical and petroleum engineering in the fall of the 5th year. With the new program, it will be on the fall of the 3rd year. That's why you noticed هيدا السنة عنا ال5 وال9 مع بعضكم. Okay, so it's a transition phase. It will be offered from now on the fall of the 3rd year. Okay, let's check the syllabus together. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you see my screen, guys?
Yes, yes.
Oui, docteur.
عم تسمعوني؟
Oui,
Oui,
سامعينك.
docteur, oui.
اوكي انا ما كنت عم اسمعكم I guess. نور؟
Yes, doctor.
Okay. So I switched devices. كان عندي مشكلة. يلا, this is our syllabus. So let's describe quickly the course, what we will be considering, what we will be studying in this course. We will start with the equivalence calculation. We will focus on time value of money and introduce the formulas that we use in engineering economy to evaluate or to track the change and the value of money. We will consider cash flows, real-world transactions, and to measure the profitability of projects, we will introduce the present worth analysis and the annual equivalence analysis, followed by the rate of return of an investment. When we consider an investment, how to determine the rate of return of this investment. In the last part of this course, we will talk about depreciation, how a fixed asset value decreases with time. This is what we call depreciation. We will talk about inflation and cost benefit ratio. It's an analysis technique. What you should have by the end of this course, what you should have acquired, who will meaning, role and approach of engineering economy, how to perform economic calculations, how to use measures of profitabilities to make a decision whenever you have options between different alternatives. So you are considering going for a project, or you have a project in mind. You have different alternatives for this same target. Which one to go for? Which one is more economically interesting? based on the NPW, net present worth, the annual equivalent, rate of return. رح تسمعوا عن هول القصص كتير. Okay, we will be using slides. All slides are not mine. These slides are from the book. Your reference book is this one. I highly recommend that you have your book, Contemporary Engineering Economics. Okay, all the slides are from the book. They were made by the edition. So Contemporary Engineering Economics. This is your reference book. All the problems we will be solving are from the book. Okay, أكيد we will not cover the whole book. We will consider few chapters for this basic course. بعدين if you decide to go for graduate studies in this domain, this book will really be a very good reference. The topics that we will be considering شوي حكيت عنهم in general, so I will skip this. This syllabus will be uploaded on Themes for you to check what did we do so far, what do we still have to do, if we covered everything, etc. This is your reference regarding this course. Let's start with the first set of slides. The slides will be uploaded on Teams on the go. كل ما we cover few sets of slides, I will upload them for you to check them. But again, the book is your main reference. You know, slides are summary from the book. You will always need to go back to your book to understand more, or to investigate a point in more details as you are interested in it. This is an introduction to engineering economic, بس أفسركم what we will be doing, and I hope that I'll be motivating you for this course. This is a course that you should be enjoying, okay? So بعيد عن التكنيكال اللي معودين عليه. It's very useful, you will see when you graduate and start working, or even on your daily life, you will need it. عندنا a chapter dedicated for loan amortization. So when you borrow money and you need to repay it, you will be able to understand everything, single detail about this. We will use Excel, by the way. Every few lectures, we will have a lecture dedicated for Excel, where we will be practicing all the economic calculations that we covered, but using Excel. Excel is a very powerful tool for economic calculation. Okay, so بهذا chapter, I wanted to show you that beyond the creation and design of engineering projects, beyond the analysis of the technical part related to the project, you will have to understand the economic aspect of a project. You will have to estimate the costs to the cost in the future. You will have to estimate the maintenance required for a specific machine. You will have to predict the revenues expected from a specific project to end up with a financial or economic analysis where you will be accepting or rejecting a project on an economic basis. Okay? So this is to show you that beyond the technical part, beyond the creation and design related to all the engineering tools that we have, you will need to analyze, evaluate a project economically. Okay, you will need to be able to tell me what is the expected profitability of a specific project. You will have to show me a cash flow, timing of a cash flows, يعني كل سنة or every period what's happening, شو الريفينيوز اللي صاروا، شو الكاست اللي دفعتهم، شو الاكسبنسز اللي حطيتوهم, etc. Okay. This is a typical engineering economic decision representation where you will start with your technical part. You see that this is where an engineer works technically. Then we should start planning the project financially before considering manufacturing, marketing, and finally getting the potential profit that you would have from a project. What is challenging about making an engineering economic decision? The challenging is the estimation of the required investment, the estimation of the product demand or the forecast of product demand, the estimation of the selling price is very critical, the manufacturing cost, the product life. You see that we are only talking about estimation and forecast. So كله نحن واقفين today and we are planning, we are trying to predict or forecast what will happen in the future, what will happen regarding the demand of this product, what will happen regarding the product life, when this product will become obsolete, how the manufacturing cost will change, how to fix my selling price to be compared to the competitors. كل هول challenging in engineering economic decisions. At this level, at the level of this course, you will not have to estimate or forecast anything of those. Okay, هيدا على level أعلى. نحن in this course, we will assume that we have the estimation, we have the forecast of all of the needed points. We only need to make our economic decisions. Okay, but keep in mind that these points are the challenging part of the engineering economic decision. Here we will learn how, given this data, how to make an engineering economic decision. Okay, so مثل ما قلت لكم نحن we are here على present. We can benefit from the past experience as فينا نسميها. This is what we call accounting. Okay, past performance is reported and evaluated in what we call accounting. We can count on this to predict the future. كل شيء engineering economy decisions بالfuture لأن we are predicting, forecasting what will happen in the future in the specific project that I'm considering to make a decision. Okay, so نحن واقفين هون. We can use the past performance reported in accounting to evaluate and predict future events. This is what we call the engineering economic part. What type of decisions we will be making, what type of examples we will be considering. Equipment or process selection. مثلا وقت عندكم different alternatives, different equipments, which one to go for, which one is the best economically. Equipment replacement decisions. We already have an equipment that needs to be replaced. We will learn how to decide whether to replace now or wait for a few more years. This type of decisions. New product or product expansion, cost reduction, improvement in service or quality. هول major titles. يعني عم بقول لكم انه الاكزامبلز اللي رح ناخذهم will fall under one of these ideas. We will finish this introduction with the fundamental principles of engineering economics. You will see very simple and very easy to understand. The first principle is stated as follows. A nearby dollar is worth more than a distant dollar. You all know that if you are offered the option of getting X dollars today or X dollars in the future, أكيد you'd better go for X dollars today because the same amount obtained today is worth more than a distant the same amount received in the future. Why برأيكم? Why is it better to have the same amount today rather than the future?
Because of inflation.
Okay, this is a part of the answer that I need, not only the inflation. شفتوها بطريقة شوي negative. الانفليشن بتخفف لنا من قيمة مصرياتنا. What is the second part that influences the value of money؟
العرض والطلب.
إذا بدنا نشوفها positively.
إذا استلمناها هلا وصرفنا فيها مزبوط لبعدين بتصير we can generate more money with this money يعني.
Very good. شو يعني تصرفنا فيها من مزبوط؟ يعني if you invest this money, you will earn money, right? This is what we call interest. الانترست بعد شوي all the time value of money you will see يلي قال inflation it's not wrong بس لا قلت لكم you are seeing it negatively لأنه the time value of money we have two elements one element that is increasing the value of my money another element that is decreasing the value of my money شو اللي عم بيشدنا طلوع the interest what I can earn by investing my money today يلي عم بيشدنا نزول is the purchasing power this is related to inflation okay so but overall the value of money will increase that's why a nearby this leads to the first principle a nearby dollar is worth more than a distant dollar due to the interest that we can earn on the money okay بدنا شوي together نتعود على terminology I want you to be able to formulate your ideas correctly this is part of this course okay be able to discuss غير على الورقة والقلم نعمل الكالكوليشن ونعمل economic decision we need to be able to discuss the technical part or discuss in a professional way our engineering economic decisions okay the second principle all it counts is the differences among alternatives so if we are considering buying or leasing يعني renting a car okay we have some elements that are the same so principle 2 is very simple انه اللي راح يفرق معي بين الباينج والleasing is the differences among alternatives not the fuel cost that is the same for the two options not the maintenance cost if we assume that we are buying or leasing the same type of car but the difference is what I'm paying for the leasing the salvage value شو يعني salvage value we will see it a lot salvage value of a car salvage value of any asset is the value of this asset at the end of its life okay يعني بقد ايه فيني بيعه باخر حياته or at any specific period salvage value يعني the price at which I can sell an asset that I owe principle number 3 revenues must exceed a cost again this is very straightforward very common sense but how we are formulating these principles so the cost should be less than the revenues that's it take only the representation manal straightforward take only the idea of the revenues must exceed the cost so you know what is a cost what is a revenue deal and finally
to have positive benefit
yes sure
okay
very good what we will introduce measure of profitabilities we will talk about a net measure that takes into account the inflows and outflows but not inflows to exceed the outflows okay and the last principle is additional risk is not taken without the expected additional return if you have money you all know that the safest way to invest is to open a savings account in a bank and earn on this money okay مشان هيك this is the lowest return لأنه it's the lowest risk when you increase the risk you expect the return to follow the return will increase so the fourth principle additional risk is not taken without the expected additional return so these are the four principles of engineering economy that we introduced in the first chapter, just for you to start getting used to the terminology that we will be using. We don't have lecture 2, lecture 4. This is where we will start working seriously. Time value of money. This is based on the first principle that we introduced. Why is the value of money changing? هذا رح نبلش فيه. Okay? Please, I want you to take notes. I don't want you to watch only the slides and listen to me. على القليلة, take a piece of paper and try to solve with me the problems that we will start solving directly. Okay, so بنحكي كلمتين and directly we will start practicing. This is how the course will be offered. Time value of money, we have an opening story for this part. We have a lottery winner, ربح $275 million. عطيو two options. These are the rules باللottery in the United States, at least in this type of lottery. قالوا له, you want $275 million, very good. You have two options. You take $167 million cash today, or you get your $275 million, but over 26 installments. So one payment per year over 26 years. You will have $10.57 million per year for 26 years. So he has these two options. عطيوه two options to get his $275 million. Okay, بأول option he will not get 275. We will analyze this opening story. What can you first notice? What is the first question that comes to your mind?
Here he lost the money because of taxes in the first option.
Okay, this is not what we will be considering. هن عم بيقولوا له you will get 167 million. بس اللي عم تحكوا كتير منيح, عم تقولوا لي why is the 167 million less than 275, right? It will not be related to taxes. هي الrules يا 167 million today يا 275 million over 26 installments. Okay, so أول سؤال طلعته 167 is less than 275. Why is this value less than the actual win? This is the first question that arises. Another question. We are brainstorming, بس عم نتحدث عن هاد two options. Not a question. Why do you think that the value of the lump sum, هيدا اسمها lump sum, when you get a big sum of money cash, this is what we call a lump sum. Okay, so the question is why the value of the lump sum payment paid immediately so much lower than $275 million paid in 26 installments. ليش برأيكم؟ ما عم نقول which option is better. Yes, I'm listening.
Over the years يعني the value of money will decrease.
Over the years شو رح يصير؟
لأنه it's cash now.
Very good. لأنه cash now, what can we do with it?
Invest.
We can invest.
Very good. بدي الكلمة we can invest it. Okay, so $167 million we can invest it. هلا رح نربح أو نخسر من الانفستمنت. This is مش هون السؤال. نحن بنحكي عن principles of engineering economy. $1 today is worth more than $1 in the future. So you have an investment opportunity. Okay, $275 million over 26 installments مش يعني عاطلين. How can I compare these two options? What do I need to know to compare these two options.
I need to check the interest in the first one. The interest
Bravo,
earned.
bravo. You need to know your investment opportunity. Where can you invest this lump sum if you get it cash now, and how the value of this lump sum will change compared to $275 million over 26 years. يعني هيدا what we call a cash flow رح نرسمه بعد شوي. So how to compare this option of getting $10.57 million every year over 26 years to the option of getting a big lump sum today, 167 million, $10.57 million. Okay, so to compare these two options ناقصنا كتير elements. أول element هو interest rate that we will be denoting I behind that course. Okay, so قلتولي you need the interest rate to compare these two options. Another thing that we need هو a common time basis to compare these two options. ليكو هيدا مقسمة على 26 years، هيدا بس عم بتصير على الزيرو. So we will learn how to find a cash flow equivalent to an initial one. So بحول هيدا to its value at zero to compare them. We're not there yet. بس عم نحكي شو عايزين. Okay, so all the questions that we talked about. What is the value of the lump sum? Why is the value of the lump sum much lower? What basis do we compare these two payment options? And how to make our decision? Okay, you see that everything is related to time value of money so far. If we understand how the time value of money is changing, it will help us a lot to start our analysis. This is what we will be doing in this chapter. We will go back to our opening story كل شوي. Okay, كل ما نتعلم شيء جديد that allows us to analyze our opening story in more detail, we will go back to it and analyze it باللي صرنا نعرفه. Okay. So what do we need to know to compare these two options or to make any engineering economic comparison? To make such comparisons, we must be able to compare the value of money at different points in time. 167 million can add zero. $10.57 million over 26 years. How to compare the value of money at different points in time? This is what we will be learning in this chapter. To do this, we need to develop a method for reducing a sequence of benefits or costs to a single point in time. Whole 26 installments of $10.57 million, you will learn shortly how to convert them to a single amount of money at any time. We need it at zero. Okay? So we need a common time basis to make this type of comparison. يلا, time value of money صرنا حكينا عنها كتير. Let's understand it. Let's introduce it and understand it and شوف how we will use it to make economic comparisons. Yeah, this is what I tried to show you earlier. The value of money function of time. We have the earning power, we have the purchasing power. There's not any mathematical explanation of this curve, but it's a nice chart to show you that purchasing power تخفف لكم قيمة مصرياتكم. earning power عم تزيد لكم قيمة مصرياتكم. So we have two elements to consider when we are studying the time value of money. I want you to know that money has a time value because it can earn more money over time. This is your earning power. So money has a time value because it can earn money over time. Okay, keep this in mind. You should be able to do this type of discussions by the end of the course. Okay, money has also a time value because it has a purchasing power that is changing over time. So we have two reasons for the time value of money: the earning power and the purchasing power. So money has a time value because it can earn money over time. It also has a time value because its purchasing power changes over time. So we need a measure that takes into account both earning powers and purchasing power. Okay? So هذا كان عم لكم اياه هلا. So to take into account both earning power and purchasing power, we have what we call the market interest rate. It's an interest rate. So, okay, it's an interest rate مثل ما بتعرفوا، بس لا اسمه market interest rate لأنه it reflects the purchasing power and the earning power of money. When we introduce the inflation and we understand the inflation, there's a specific chapter for inflation. When we introduce it, you will learn how to divide this market interest rate into a part for inflation, another part that is free of inflation. We will see this later. But I want you to keep in mind that until we reach the inflation chapter, the interest rates that we will be dealing with reflect both earning and purchasing power. Okay? Yeah, let's talk about the interest rate. أكيد you know about the interest rate, but I want you to put it under هون الكورس تبعنا, and again be able to explain it, discuss it in correct English. Okay, so بدك تستفيدوا كمان من هيدا الكورس for this. So interest is the cost of money. Money costs money. المصاري مثل حيالله other goods, مثل البنزين, مثل الحليب, مثل like any other good, it costs money. Okay? فينا نشوفها from two different aspects. A cost to the borrower, إذا بنتدين مصاري, we need to return the money and the cost of this money. And we can see it as an earning for the lender. When we lend money, we expect in return the money that we lend and the cost of this money. So the interest is the cost of money. It can be seen as a cost to the borrower and earning to the lender. ماشي حالنا؟ We need few elements to start our calculations using the interest rate. Principal or present value is the value of the money at zero. So principal, also known as present value, denoted capital P. This is the value of the money in the present, today. The interest rate, the interest period, and the total number of interest periods. These are the elements of transactions involving interest. This is what we will be using when we are performing an interest calculation. This is a summary table for the different parameters that we will be using, مش بس بهيدا chapter, through the year, through the semester. Okay, so P for principal, this is the initial amount of money. مش على طول على الزيرو، فين يكون initial amount at any n وعم شوف له the future value, you will see. But the initial amount of money is denoted P. Okay, present value, it is the value today, but today فين يكون واقفة at a different time. You will see what I mean later. Interest rate is I. This is the measure of the cost of money. Interest period is denoted capital M. We will not use it a lot, but the capital N أنا أكتر. Let me circle the one that we will be using often. This capital P, will use it a lot. I is the interest rate. Capital N is the number of interest periods. We will use F a lot, the future value of money. Annual value is denoted AN. Equivalent value denoted VN. Okay, VN إذا بنفهمها على الزيرو it is P, على الكابيتال N it is F, وin between عند V1, V2, V3 لل VN minus 1 هن ال equivalent values between 0 and capital N. اوكي الانيوال فاليوز عادة بيكونوا كلهم equal. اذا ما كانوا equal بنعتبرها A and this N، بس عادة an equal payment series of capital A. يلا let's introduce the cash flow diagram that we will be using for every single problem that we will be solving. Okay, we cannot solve a problem without showing a cash flow diagram. A cash flow diagram is a graphical representation of what's happening. The cash transactions over time are graphically represented. The horizontal axis is for time. Okay, بدي تحددوا لي year, month, day, whatever is the time that you are, time basis that you are using, and at each period you add the transaction that is happening. This is an example. At zero, $20,000 هيها هون. اوكي ليش رسموها هيك؟ لانه عندي 200 negative whatever. هلا ركزوا لي على الكاش فلو diagram. We still don't have the story for this example. Cash flow diagram again, time for the horizontal axis. والtransaction انتبهوا, you have a positive a transaction or a negative transaction depending on what is happening in the problem you are considering. Okay, I don't mind انه as it's an expense, as you are considering expenses تحطوهم positive, بس مهم الريفينيوز يكونوا negative. يعني مهم عكس بعضهم. It's a reference that you take. Okay, there's no rule for which one is positive, which one is negative. You should make sure that they have opposite signs, and that's it. So we add an arrow to represent an amount of money or a transaction. يو positive يو negative depending on what's happening. اوكي هون مفسرين لكم الكاش فلو diagram. بتنتبهوا على شغله كثير منيح. We have a convention بالكاش فلو diagram, end of period convention. By default Excel كمان كل ال economic calculators أو calculation even بكل reference books consider this convention end of period convention. يعني if years is my time unit وهون 1 2 3 etc. this is end of year 1, end of year 2. Nothing happens in between. Everything happening in between goes to the end of period. This is what we call end of period convention. Okay, so numbers اللي عم نحطهم, this is today, this is end of year 1, end of year 2, etc. Okay, this is the end of period convention explanation. So whatever is happening between two interest periods, كله we add them and we put them at the end of period. You will not have to do this. نحن وقت ناخد الكاش فلو, وقت ناخد الترانزاكشنز by default أنا بعطيكم الترانزاكشن at the end. Nothing happens between two interest periods. If it happens, we add them up and we put them at the end of period. This based on the end of period convention. So any cash flows occurring during the interest period are summed to a single amount and placed at the end of the interest period. This makes the calculation much easier. ما فينا امشي على كل transaction مطرح ما تصير to perform my calculation. We need a convention. We will be using the end of period convention. How to calculate interest? We have two types of interest, simple and compound. Simple interest charges the interest rate only to an initial amount. اسمه the principal amount. Deal? So the simple interest is simple. It charges the interest rate only to the initial amount. Compound interest, which is by far the most commonly used type of interest, we don't use the simple interest. Compound interest consists in charging the interest rate to the initial sum and any previously accumulated interest. يعني it consists in charging the interest rate to the time varying value of money. هونيك it charges the interest rate to the initial amount بس. It doesn't take into account the change in the value of money. The compound interest, you will have interest on the initial amount plus any accumulated interest added to this amount أكيد إذا it has not been withdrawn إذا ما سحبناه. اسمعوني كتير منيح. Unless otherwise mentioned, كل ال interest calculations that we will be doing are based on the compound interest rate. Simple interest rate, when do we use them? Simple interest rates are used for small amounts. رحنا عند خوري home to buy مش عارفنا غسالة. Okay, so as they offer us to pay in different installments, the way they will be calculating my payments are based on the simple interest. Whenever we are dealing with small amounts of money, we use the simple interest rate, but the compound interest is the one that we use all the time. لأنه ونحن بالengineering economic decisions, we will be dealing with big projects, big engineering projects, big amounts of money. So أكيد the compound interest rate is the one that we will use. We will introduce both of them anyway. We will do an application as simple interest, that just to show you how it works. But I want you to know that we don't use it in practice. So how does the simple interest rate work? We have a principal amount P. We add the interest to it to get the future amount F. How is this interest calculated? This interest is simply I times the initial amount n times. That's it. So P into 1 plus I n. This is the simple interest concept. بالcompound interest غير شيء كليا. شو عم بيصير خلينا I will do the calculation للcompound later step by step. هيدا للsimple, you see that it's very simple. So you add to your principal the interest. What does the simple interest consist in? It consists in charging the interest on the initial amount. أكيد n times حسب how many interest periods I'm considering. Deal? This is an example on the simple interest. So assume that P is $1,000. I is a simple interest of 10%. And my study is over 3 years. This is what we call an economic table. We will be showing a lot of tables like this one. So end of year is your first column. We usually denote it small n. So 0 is today, end of year 1, end of year 2, end of year 3. N, the column of n is followed by the column of the beginning balance, the interest, the ending balance. ليكو شو الخبرية؟ at 0 ما كان معي شيء قبل. So ما عندي interest. I started with $1,000. This is B0. Okay? End of year 1, the beginning balance is B0, Bn minus 1, 1,000. 10% of 1,000 is 100. So I will end up with 1,100. This is B1. Simple interest ما بتعطيني interest on 1,100. مع إنه I have now $1,100. I'm still getting $100. يلي هي 10% of P. 10% of P. 10% of P. على طول I'm getting the interest on the initial amount. Okay, 1,200, 1,300. This is how we get the final value F using the table. We could have calculated F مثل ما فرجيتكم بالprevious slide. F is 1,000 plus 3 times 10% of 1,000. This is what I did. 1,300 is the future value of 1,000 invested at a simple interest of 10% for 3 years. Clear? You see that it's not fair. If you deposit $1,000 in a bank account that earns 10% وما سحبتوا منهم شيء, it's not fair لأنه end of year once صار عندكم 1,100. You should get interest on this updated value. This is the idea of the compound interest. The simple interest على طول you get I on P. بالcompound interest, this is the simple interest formula يلي عملت لكم إياها in the previous slide. بالcompound scenario, let's follow the steps year by year. شو عم بيصير? So today, I went to the bank and I deposited $1,000. Okay, $1,000 earns 10%, so $100. End of year one, I will have 1,100. I will earn money on this updated amount, 1,100. 10% of this new balance بصير عندي 1,210. 10% of 1,210 بصير عندي 1,331. You see that I got $31 more than the simple scenario, which is normal. لأنه I'm applying the interest to the initial amount plus any accumulated interest that I got. How to develop the formula here? أكيد بينت معكم. So أول F هون أول step I did 1,000 plus I times 1,000 يعني 1,000 into 1 plus I. Okay? Then I will get I on this new amount. So 1,000 1 plus I plus I times 1,001 plus I يعني 1,001 plus I squared. بعد برجع 1,001 plus I 3. هيها هون 1,001 plus I to the 3 تطلع 1,331. The general formula is F هي P 1 plus I to the N. Okay? You have it here step by step. We start with P. We add the interest on the end of year one, صرنا P into 1 plus I. The previous amount to which we add I, so صرنا P 1 plus I to the 2 until P 1 plus I to the N. This is what we call compounding. I is a compound interest. So وقت أقطع من P ل P into 1 plus I برجع ل P into 1 plus I squared, etc. This is what we call compounding. So we will use a lot the compounding process. How to illustrate it? We started with 1,000. 1,000 compounded once gives 1,100. 1,100 compounded once at 10% gives 1,210. 1,210 compounded once at 10% gives 1,331. كان فينا أقول لكم شيء $1,000 compounded 3 times at 10% gives 1,331. عم تتعودوا معي على الترمينولوجي؟ So as a 1,000 compounded once 1,100 compounded 1,100 compounded once 1,210. 1,210 فينا نشوفه as 1,000 compounded twice. Okay, الارو مش in this direction. 1,000 compounded twice. عم بروح من البريزنت على الفيوتشر. This is the compounding. بعد شوي من الفيوتشر على البريزنت رح سميه discounting. Okay, so هيدا عن الكompounding process. This is the fundamental law of engineering economy. It's really simple, but it is the fundamental rule in here. How to compound P n times at I, at this interest rate. We will have a quick example. Consider the following sequence of deposits and withdrawals over a period of 4 years. if you earn a 10% interest by default compound إلا إذا أنا بقول لكم simple from now on by default the interest is a compound interest. What would be the balance at the end of 4 years? How much will you have at the end of 4 years? يلا ليكو شو عم نعمل. So we have $1,000 على الزيرو. $1,000 compounded once صارت 1,100 plus the 1,000 that I added صاروا 2,100 compounded once 2,310 minus 1,210 this is a withdrawal صرنا 1,100 compounded once 1,210 plus 1,500 2,710 compounded one more time لأنه بقيت بالبنك from 3 to 4 so times 1 plus 0.1 to the 1 2,981 is the future value of the sequence of deposits and withdrawals.
دكتور
Any
يعني
questions?
هون
Yeah.
downward arrow اخدينهم هن earnings.
Yes لو
Okay.
مشينا in the opposite direction كان نفس الشيء بس بالعكس.
Okay.
It would lead to the same answer بس كانت الأف طلعت بالعكس. It's a convention براسنا بالعكس إنه أنا كان فينا آخذ ال 1,000 withdrawals وهيدوك deposit. بس وفينال واحدة plus واحدة minus أو واحدة minus واحدة plus we will have the same answer at the end بس بتكون الأف لإلك withdrawal لإلها deposit أو positive أو negative. أوكي.
دكتور في مجال
Yes.
تعيد هالسلايد كان عم بيقطش الانترنت.
يلا اوكي راح اعيده بس بدي لكم شغله I suggest that I stop the recording here تما يطلع لكم very long recordings take بس 5 minutes break لانه بتكون صارت 9 ما بعرف اذا انتم مثلي انا 9 بتروح الكهرباء so we start another recording at 9 تما يقطش and I will repeat this one before continuing. اوكي
اوكي دكتور.